First of all, you said before you wouldn't be able to get the Devil's Rejects made now. Does that mean this is the last time we're going to see these characters on film?
The company that made this movie is changed so much. They own the rights, they own everything, and they just don't make movies like that anymore. They've kind of run from it, Lionsgate. I'm kind of going through the same thing in the film business that I went through in the music business, is that a lot of these companies made all their money off, like, you know, hard rock, heavy metal, bands that are like, you know, except for hard rock and heavy metal bands, what bands can still sell out arenas with a bunch of guys who've been doing it for fucking 40 years? Not these fucking pop acts that nobody can remember 10 seconds later, but still they treat it all like no respect, who gives a shit, we don't care, we're all about this. And it's the same thing in the film business. You know, whatever like happening little movie of the moment they gush over, meanwhile, you know they're not going to care, and they're still going to be putting out, here's the 75th anniversary edition of Texas Chainsaw Massacre that we're still making money off of, but we treat it like shit. It's just a weird thing, and that's part of it. I mean, it was movies like Devil's Rejects and Saw and all these that made Lionsgate a big enough company to now become the company that doesn't want to make these movies anymore. It's ridiculous.
The main thing in the front entryway is our jackalope. I hit that driving in Wisconsin a couple of years back. Here's the living room, which I don't know why it's a living room because there's a lot of dead stuff in here. Pirate bar. It wasn't a pirate bar, but it looked like a pirate bar, so we made it a pirate bar.
As a kid, you must have just been absorbing everything around you and collecting things and having your fantasy world now a reality.
Yeah, in a weird sort of way. I think the best thing that ever happened to me is growing up kind of miserable. You know, because kids that are happy and well-adjusted never do anything. You know, they peak in high school and it's all over. And you're like, what the fuck? Because, you know, it's like what I notice is like if you grow up kind of miserable, you realize life is kind of hard and you got to go take whatever you want. But then as kids, I always thought like that had it good. They kind of expect when they get out of high school, people are going to grade them and give them trophies and still give a fuck. No one gives a shit. You know, when you get out of high school, they're like, fuck you, what do we care? So that was sort of like, well, you know, I think I'm motivated by revenge, I believe that's my concept.
This film is a brilliant achievement in motion picture history. Finally, the truth about Hitler's diabolical plans to create a race of superwomen can be told. Werewolf Women of the SS.
Yes, Werewolf Women of the SS. I've heard there's about half an hour of footage. Are we ever going to get to see that?
Probably not. That's a tricky one. It's sort of like buried in the dimension vaults, which you just can't penetrate. We've tried so many times to do something with that, and I don't know. I had two different ideas. I was either going to do a Nazi movie or a women in prison one. Whichever one I could jam the most nudity into. But at the end of the day, they actually censored my trailer quite a bit because it was pretty extreme. There's a lot of nudity and stuff in it. Which none of it made it into the trailer because I figured, what the fuck? Let's go nuts, you know? We had this whole subplot with this Nazi gorilla, all this crazy shit that we did. Because, you figure if they're going to have werewolves, they're probably going to have trained gorillas also. But you'll never see it.
How'd you get Nicolas Cage?
Well, I've just been friends with Nick for a long time, and the Nicolas Cage thing is funny because I went out to dinner with him to try to convince, to get him, because when you have a friend like that, you don't ever want to ask a favor of him, because I never ask favors of people, so I was like, wait till the last minute. I wanted him to understand what it was, which he didn't. Nobody understood what they were doing. Like, wait a minute, we're making a trailer for a movie that we're not making to put inside of another movie. Like, no one could get it. No one understood, no matter how much you explained it, no one fucking could get the concept of what we're doing. I wanted him to play the Nazi doctor that Bill Moseley eventually played. And he's like, oh, Rob, I'm really uncomfortable playing a Nazi. I can't really do a good Nick, but he talks very quiet like that. He's like the greatest guy in the world, but he has like a very distinct way to talk. And on the spot, I go, what about Fu Manchu? You want to play Fu Manchu? I didn't have a reason to put Fu Manchu in the movie. I just thought, but I figured at the same time, that's how they made those movies. Like someone, he's like, oh yeah, I don't have a problem with that. And then I still thought he would never show up, which was kind of funny. And but the whole joke of the thing is he's not wearing any kind of like makeup because we wanted to play it as if like sleazy producers had convinced him to be in the movie, so they didn't want to hide his face, so they only put the mustache on him. and exploited him. He got very conceptual about the whole piece. Anyway. The funniest thing about the Fu Manchu thing, I remember when we were done with the trailer and I went to his house and we watched it with his son. And we watched it and his son goes, Dad, that is the fucking best thing you've ever done. And he was like, oh, great, make 40 movies and this is the only thing my son responds to. Great.